Hasan Piker is back in the news. Unfortunately, once again, it's not good for Hasan. Now, of course, in my past videos, I've talked about reasons that Hasan might get banned from Twitch, and it does look like there's a lot of pressure on them. But today, we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Hasan freaking out about the White House designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. That's right, our president, Donald J. Trump, said on Truth Social, "I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Now, this is a big problem for Hasan because obviously Hasan is, well, not outwardly a member of Antifa, definitely somebody whose ideology supports Antifa. And of course, that just adds another terror org to the list of the ones that Hasan is okay with, but he is freaking out. He was tweeting out, "They are openly admitting they're fascist BTW." I don't know why Hasan posts like he's 15 years old and his mom just took away his Xbox, but he is mad, saying that Trump's now openly admitting that he's fascist because he's banning Antifa. Now, obviously, they called it Antifa because you can't criticize something. Oh, it's anti-fascist. You can't criticize that. It's like, for instance, if you called yourself the good guys and then you did a bunch of bad things so that nobody could criticize you because, well, you're the good guys. So how could you be doing bad things? It's a stupid argument, and it's one that Hasan has fallen for hook, line, and sinker. But if we go here, we can see he was freaking out even more. He said, "Anti-fascism is an action, not an organization. This is precisely the reason why this fascist administration will go after anyone expressing discontent with its fascist policies." Again, tweeting like an edgy 15-year-old, but in this case, he is espousing a Democrat conspiracy theory that Antifa is not real, that it's just a fake made-up thing, it's just an idea. Now, of course, that's not true. Antifa does exist. There are actual physical places, there are websites, there are organizations set up as part of Antifa across the country and internationally. In fact, it actually started in East Germany after World War II and has spread across Europe and into the United States since then, but for some reason the Democrats have been using this idea that they can just say that Antifa doesn't exist and everybody will just believe them. Now, obviously, that's not true. Antifa does exist, and no amount of edgy Twitter posting by Hasan is going to stop that from being the reality. And Antifa is going to be investigated and potentially shut down, and some people are probably going to be put in prison for it. Because let's be honest, a lot of the left-wing violence in America has been the fault of Antifa. We had the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020, and since then, every single time there's a riot, you see people dressed in the stereotypical Antifa outfit, dressed in all black with a face mask covering their face so you can't see who they are, and they show up at basically any time that there's a big protest, and they're violent agitators who go around turning protests into riots. Now, that's just my opinion, but I think the Trump administration agrees with me. Anyway, Hasan didn't stop his edgy posting at this. He went on to do another one. He said, "The administration attacks against free speech are clearly coming from a place of weakness. They must present penalties for dissent and strike fear in your hearts. You cannot let them win. We have the numbers, and they know this." When obviously he does not have the numbers, right? Trump won the popular vote. Hasan's side, the left, does not have the numbers. Moreover, Hasan right here is advocating for a civil war. When Hasan says, "We have the numbers and they know this, you cannot let them win," that's him advocating for a civil war in plain text. Now, obviously, that's stupid of him to do, because look at where the Democrats are. They're in all the big cities. You know what they don't grow in big cities? Food. Everybody's gonna starve if there's a civil war, unless you're lucky enough to be close enough on the coast and know how to fish, because there is not gonna be any food flowing to any liberal states in the case of a civil war, in which case, everybody's screwed. It's a stupid thing for him to advocate for, and not to mention he's just wrong, because Donald Trump won the popular vote. I do also want to point out that Trump is not attacking free speech by designating Antifa as a terrorist organization, because Antifa as an organization has a history of being violent, and I believe Trump is looking into them for organized crimes as well. So obviously that's not freedom of speech. But the other thing he could be talking about is that Jimmy Kimmel's show was just canceled. Trump truthed out. Great news for America. The ratings challenged Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. And then if we go down here, we can read the full text. "Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. The ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC, President Donald J. Trump." Now, of course, people on Hasan's side of the aisle on the left, they're spinning this as an attack on free speech. So Hasan may be meaning this when he talks about the attacks against free speech, but obviously this isn't an attack against free speech. And to explain why, we need to understand why the Jimmy Kimmel show was canceled. You see, we had a bunch of different nationally syndicated networks deciding to cancel Jimmy Kimmel on their own, forcing ABC's hands. This was not something the government did directly. This was something that these partners, by canceling Jimmy Kimmel's show, caused ABC to do because they they obviously can't keep producing a show if nobody's going to put it on the air. As you can see here, Sinclair decided that what Jimmy Kimmel said about Charlie Kirk and the conspiracy theory that Jimmy Kimmel had espoused about Kirk's killing was so egregious that they will not lift the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our stations until formal discussions are held with ABC regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability. Sinclair also calls upon Mr. Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we ask Mr. Kimmel to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. So basically they're saying, we're never going to air Jimmy Kimmel Live again until Jimmy Kimmel himself apologizes to Erica Kirk and her family and then donates a bunch of money to her and Turning Point, which obviously is something Jimmy Kimmel, who is a crazy left-wing person, is not going to do, and thus he's probably never getting back on air. But if you listen to people like Hasan, every corporation is instantly folding to the admin even when it's over an utterly inoffensive joke the admin doesn't like. Liberals need to wake up. We all have to fight back. These wealthy assholes aren't going to stand up for anything beyond their bottom line. Again, Hasan, he loves to tweet like an edgy 15-year-old, but at least this time he learned how to use the caps lock key. Of course, as I just pointed out, they are not folding to the administration, they're folding to their own broadcasting groups who are putting pressure on them. So again, it's as a whole nothing burger. It had nothing really to do with Trump. The Trump connection is that one of the FCC commissioners had called up and basically said Jimmy Kimmel needs to correct the record because obviously what he said was wrong. And so they're saying, oh, well, that was an intimidation tactic to get ABC to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel. But again, this is why they got rid of Jimmy Kimmel. And Sinclair wasn't the only broadcasting group to do this either. Basically, Hasan's entire world is falling apart. The libs are losing. They've lost all their cultural relevancy. They've lost all their power. And now they're scared because they realize that they don't have the popular support that they once had. So my real question is, do you guys think that Hasan is going to be able to stay on Twitch for much longer with the way the culture is changing? Or is Twitch going to be forced to ban him because of some of his past comments and the fact that he freaks out about stuff like this, which is becoming increasingly unpopular as the entire United States shifts to the right politically? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.